Growing up is hard enough, but growing up with a disorder that affects your appearance is even harder. We met a young lady with an incredible story who has helped and inspired people of all ages. Since she's given so much to others, we've decided to give back to her. This is Tite Rides.
Know the ropes, all the screws and bolts, I'm an outlaw. Graphics on the truck, but your paint got a slight flaw. 30-inch rims sitting high, get your lockjaw. Got a light in, try to hide it with the right bra. Rare paint job, hit the city after nightfall. Duties on the back, sounding like a chainsaw. I'm a dreamer, my ride is a vision. Got the coupe souped up with the plates, go fishing. Listen to my highs and my lows, got the whooper hitting hard, this here is a KO. No, down for the count, Tite Rides, put it down, what's next coming out?
So we kind of have a unique story this week. I met a little girl and she is remarkable. She has alopecia and happens to have the coolest car I have ever seen. XJ6 85 Jag. And get this, it only has 68,000 miles on it.
What exactly is alopecia?
She's lost all the hair on her head and she lost it when she was a little girl and it's never grown back. But she's not let that get her down. She's a motivational speaker. She goes to schools all over the state of Indiana and she even has her own show on Radio Disney. We're gonna go there tonight and interview her.
So how's the Jaguar tie in with her and her alopecia?
It's a good story. Her grandpa gave her mother and her the car when they were in a time of need. And now the grandpa's passed away, but by driving that car for the year that they did, she really got attached to the car and has a connection for her with her grandfather. So the car's been in storage for a long time, so you guys are gonna have a lot of work ahead of you.
This job is going to be a little bit different than some of the jobs that we've done, and obviously the jobs we've done for the show. We aren't going to go in and put a crazy custom paint job on it and really radical wheels. We're really going to keep this car its classic original state. We're going to get the thing running, we're going to get it cleaned up, and have it look like it did the day it rolled off the showroom floor. So since this car was given to Olivia by her grandfather, we're gonna kind of personalize the car. I'm gonna have Marty airbrush Olivia's name, Olivia's grandfather's name, and Olivia had nicknamed the car Pablo. So we're gonna have Marty airbrush Pablo on the glove box door with the other two names. The other thing we're gonna be doing is Olivia's mom gave us a picture of Olivia and her grandfather. We're gonna incorporate that inside the glove box here. Is a really neat vanity mirror. We're going to take the vanity mirror out and actually put a picture of Olivia with her grandfather inside this vanity mirror, so it'll make a nice little picture frame for her when she's driving.
It's probably the cleanest I've seen for something as old as it is. I mean, it's a 1985, it has around 70,000 miles on it. For as old as it is, the paint's in great shape. You know, the interior, it's worn down, but it's better than what most leather interior 2 years old looks like, so.
Well, we know the battery's been dead on this Jaguar because it's been sitting around for so long. So we went ahead and plugged the battery charger into it. We're gonna try and fire it up, maybe take it around the block, and see exactly what's wrong with this thing. You ready to go, Scotty?
Yep.
Fire it up. Hey Sharra, we've got a lot of parts we're going to need to get for this car to get it ready. Would you mind helping us out and taking a list as we
I'd love to.
Yell the parts out to you? We've already tested the coil. We know it's bad. While we're in here, we're going to go ahead and give this thing a tune-up. So we're going to replace the plug wires.
Dye for the leather, shampoo for the carpets. We need a new window switch for the driver's door.
We're going to need a transmission pan gasket. We're going to need the oil filter.
Car soap. We're going to need clay bar, 1000 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit sandpaper. Brake
pads and rotors, front and rear. New tires.
Buffing pads, buffing compound. Definitely some wheel cleaner.
Headlight bulbs.
Turn signal bulbs.
We're going to go ahead and get brake light bulbs.
What makes Olivia's story so unique is the way she's taken her disorder and used it to inspire kids and adults with her positive outlook on life.
Olivia, I was lucky enough to meet your mom and hear a little bit about your story, but I'd like to hear it from you. Can you tell me what you have alopecia and what that is?
Alopecia, it's like the tomato thing. But what it is my white blood cells actually think my hair is a germ, so they attack it and it causes it to fall out.
When it first happened, Olivia was only 18 months old, and she suddenly developed had normal, baby hair, and developed a round spot of hair loss that just randomly came from nowhere, and wasn't too alarmed initially, and then just rapidly her hair was just coming out, so obviously I just had a panic attack.
And I was 8 years old, it all came out again, and my mom, being the mom she is again, started to have a little panic attack, and we actually got a wig for me.
I found a company here in Indianapolis, and they created a beautiful hair system.
Yeah, you showed us pictures and
Yes.
it looked beautiful.
Yes, it really did, and she wore it for about 5 months. It was kind of difficult because she had to use adhesive to attach it to her scalp.
And she was 8 years old?
She was only 8.
I mean, that has to be really hard to be 8 years old and she's putting it on and, being scared that it's going to come off.
We had some very difficult mornings getting her out the door for school.
Because there's mornings for children that have no problems with their hair loss, so I can only imagine.
I was thinking about how I felt like I was hiding myself from others, and I told my mom that, and she was just like, okay, if you want to go to school without it, I guess that's up to you. So ever since I've been publicly bald, so to speak.
The day that she woke up and said, I'm done, I'm going to school without hair today, I just couldn't believe it.
What were you thinking? I mean, that had to be the last thing that you thought was going to happen, is that she was going to wake up and say, hey Mom, guess what, I'm going to go to school and I'm not going to have hair today.
Well, I was just terrified as to what would happen when she got to school, because the 3rd grade kids really maybe didn't totally understand what was going on underneath her hair, and she wanted to show up bald to school, and I was very concerned that that was not the right decision.
I remember my mom, being like, oh my gosh, are you sure you're okay to go to school without it? And I was like, Mom, yeah, I'm fine. And so I went to school, and she was constantly calling my teachers, my nurse, the guidance counselor, going, oh, I can come get her if she needs, I can bring her a wig. And they were all just like, Sandy, it's okay, you can go home now.
How do you think you get through every day? I mean, why is it so easy for you?
I think I'm not really sure. Like, I know it's, again, a very vague answer. I think it's because I found confidence in myself, and I know that I'm beautiful, and that, if someone has hair, they're beautiful. If someone doesn't, they're beautiful. Like, everyone's just beautiful in their own way. And I think the fact that I think that is why everyone else around me is okay with it, because a lot of people with alopecia have been bullied to the point where they've just been traumatized by something that I think is a very positive thing, because it makes me unique.
Olivia had a grandfather that was very important to her in her life. Tell me a little bit about her relationship with him.
Okay. He passed away in 2009, and he was just a very interesting man, would be a good way to say it. He had property up in Minnesota. There was canoes there and four-wheelers, and so every summer Olivia would go and spend a week there with her cousins and just had a great time, and they were very close.
Welcome back to the Gold Mine. Whether it's a juicy steak, house-made pasta, or an appetizer shared among family and friends, the Gold Mine is the place on Indy's southeast side. Our food is made from scratch daily, and our cozy dining room is perfect for spending time with family and friends. You can also enjoy the live entertainment and fire pit outdoors on the patio. Great friends, great food, great spirits. Just leave the work to us.
Hey, do you ever fake it?
Oh yeah, I fake it all the time.
Really?
It's easier, it's faster, and nobody can ever tell the difference.
Easy Tans, the tanning salon. No contracts, no membership fees, with 4 levels of state-of-the-art equipment plus UV-free spray tanning.
No long-term commitment, just tanning made easy.
Easy Tans with 2 convenient locations. It's the best place to get hot.
Alright, right now it's just a cosmetic day. What we're going to do is just wash the car down, just get it ready to go, start doing the interior and all that stuff, get it all cleaned up, and then we'll start doing engine work. My car's in okay shape, but I honestly thought it'd be in better shape, to be honest. I mean, the more we get into it, it's like, whoa. The one thing the English did get right would be their chrome. I mean, for some reason, their chrome never goes bad.
So I've got some extra cut rubbing compound and a black wool pad. We're gonna try to buff this car out and see if there's any life left in this paint. There's not a lot of life left in this paint. Well, it looks like we may have to wet sand this a little bit and then go back in and buff it out when we get done. Buffing alone wasn't enough to take the paint down, so I'm gonna have to wet sand. What I'm using is a 1000 grit sandpaper, a little bit of water and a sanding block, and I'm gonna scuff the top edge of the clear down off this car and see if I can actually level the paint a little bit. Then I'm gonna switch to a 1500 and a 2000 grit and then go back over it and try and buff it out again. But I don't know how much clear is left on this car, so I'm gonna have to be really, really careful. That actually looks a lot better. Wet sanding and buffing a car is actually really easy to do, but a lot of people are afraid to do it because they're afraid they're going to damage and sand through the paint. A rule of thumb is just listen to what you're doing, take your time and go slow. Now this spot that I've already been sanding on, if you listen to it, the sandpaper is really quiet here. You know, that's sanded just enough. Now I'm going to move to a spot over here that I haven't done yet and listen to the difference the sandpaper makes. So that's really rough, needs a lot more sanding. This is almost done.
While Mike is wet sanding the Jaguar, the actual water that's coming off the Jaguar is actually the same color as the car. Back in the 80s in England, the paint technology was a lot worse than it is now. Today we use a two-stage paint where you lay the base coat down and then the clear coat. While you're wet sanding your car, the milky white water that's coming off is the clear coat you're sanding down. Once it turns to the color of the paint of your car, you need to stop, call a professional. More than likely you have just ruined the paint on your car. What I'm getting ready to do is start working on the interior. You need to shampoo the carpets out, do all the vacuuming. I also need to dye the seats. What we use to dye the leather fabric in the car is called Sim Classic Coat. It's actually a dye specifically formulated for leather and vinyl. Unlike spray paint, which is not flexible, it ended up flaking off and peeling and chipping away.
Welcome back to the Gold Mine. Whether it's a juicy steak, house-made pasta, or an appetizer shared among family and friends, the Gold Mine is the place on Indy's southeast side. Our food is made from scratch daily, and our cozy dining room is perfect for spending time with family and friends. You can also enjoy the live entertainment and fire pit outdoors on the patio. Great friends, great food, great spirits. Just leave the work to us.
Hey, do you ever fake it?
Oh yeah, I fake it all the time.
Really?
It's easier, it's faster, and nobody can ever tell the difference.
Easy Tans, the tanning salon. No contracts, no membership fees with 4 levels of state-of-the-art equipment plus UV-free spray tanning.
No long-term commitment, just tanning made easy.
Easy Tans with 2 convenient locations. It's the best place to get hot.